Happy New Year, gentlemen. Good to see you. Gerard, I'll start with you. In the past few weeks, it was a little bit uncertain as to whether Ford was even going to be in WRC 2012. Happily, they are. A big relief for everybody, I suppose.
Yeah, it's been a challenging few weeks for all of us at Ford, but also at M-Sport and with our partners. And we're glad to be in WRC, and it's a commitment that we haven't taken lightly. There's been a lot of uncertainty around motorsport, and particularly in WRC, but also when you consider what's going on around the globe with the economy and so on. So we have a passion for motorsport, and we share that passion with M-Sport. And we got together and we've made a decision, and we're committed for 2012 and 13, and it's great news for everybody.
I guess you'd have kind of felt the anxiety of fans and rival manufacturers if Ford had not been in WRC. It would have been like Formula One without Ferrari, really, or McLaren.
Yeah, thank you. That's that's one of the good things. The many fans that we've had, the followers that we have, everybody in the team, our partners. It's amazing the response that we had, and that everybody was behind us and encouraged us to stay in the sport. And we're 110 years in motorsport now at Ford, and it's not something that we would like to see that we derive a lot of value from WRC, obviously, and we didn't want to not be here. So we're glad we're doing it, and we're looking forward to the challenge for 2012.
Malcom, I guess you share... sorry, we've got to share mics at the moment. I guess you share Gerard's relief, really, that Ford is still in WRC, and it was a tricky few weeks for you before Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very, very difficult period for everybody within Ford, within M-Sport, and you can imagine all the staff up in Cumbria were quite concerned. But of course, there was a lot of things that needed to be addressed. As Gerard mentioned, it was a difficult period for the motor manufacturing industry in Europe. Then there was the doubt about the promotion of the World Rally Championship. So of course, we couldn't. No, it wouldn't have been fair for anybody to agree to a commitment with unless we knew everything was in place. Sadly, or not sadly, but unfortunately, it was very late in the year, which put a lot of pressure on a lot of people, and a lot of people were worried about the future of the jobs, their livelihood. But it was fantastic news, as you can imagine, when Ford made the decision that they would stay in the World Championship for the next 2 years. It was a great Christmas present, certainly for all my staff up at M-Sport.
I guess it would have been more difficult had this problem happened last year when you were switching from Focus to Fiesta. You've got a base car, haven't you, which you don't have to change very much.
No, I mean, yes, I mean, you're right. If we'd been this position, the same position last year, then it would have been very difficult. But having said that, we'd already been developing the car for the 12 months previous. But I have to say, with the late call and where we are, and with the fact that the good thing is that there's very few technical things that you can change on the car from an FIA technical regulations point of view, then for sure it's made it a little bit easier. Having said that, it's only a few weeks since Rally GB ended, and we go to Monte Carlo next week. And there's a lot of other things to change, like the livery design and everything on the cars and all the trucks. And of course, you're also all the time trying to make improvements technically to the car wherever you can, and different driver lineups and different combinations. So it's been a pretty hectic period, and still will be right up to the start next week.
We'll come on to your driver selection for 2012 in a minute, but Gerard, it was another amazing scrap with Citroën in WRC last year, and now you've got Mini to worry about, and Volkswagen are throwing a lot of resources at their WRC campaign. It's good for the sport, isn't it?
Yes, it's really good, and I think that's one of the things that, again, in part of the decision-making process, it's important to know who you're going to compete against. And to see other manufacturers coming into WRC, irrespective of what's going on out there right now, I'm sure we'll fix all of that. But the important thing is that manufacturers still have the belief that WRC is the place to be, and that's where you want to compete. So it's really good to have the likes of Citroën, Volkswagen and Mini in there, and we look forward to taking them on this year and into 2013.
We've written in Autosport this week, in fact, that things have been quite difficult for the WRC in recent days with the promoter issue. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the latest detail, but obviously for us as a consideration, it's something that was really important before Christmas. And we worked with the FIA, and I know that I sought assurances from them, and we as a company sought assurances from the FIA that it's important for us as a manufacturer making a huge commitment to the sport, that we had guarantees that there would be, for example, a promoter for WRC, and that we had things like live TV in Germany and the UK, important markets, not just for us but for the other manufacturers as well. And there's a service that we have to put out there to the fans and the followers. So it is very difficult times. We will work certainly in collaboration with the FIA to get the sport back on track, because last year, as you recall, we had turned the corner and we were making very good progress with the sport, and we want to continue that. So we will work to make sure that happens.
Do you think if the promoter business had sort of started to unravel a few weeks before, it might have affected Ford's decision?
Yeah, certainly. I think that's something that was critical to the sport and the survival of WRC, and making sure we had a sustainable future in the sport. It would have been something that could have, and I don't want to talk about it now because we've made a decision. But we need to look ahead now. We've got a very exciting sport. We need to make the championship the best championship that there is in the world. It's a world-class event, and to have it sustainable for the future, because we want to bring more manufacturers in and to have a global championship for rallying that's the pinnacle of motorsport.
Do you think the format discussions are going the right way? We've got Jean Todt, who's obviously a rally fan, at the helm of the FIA. He wants to reintroduce longer rallies, but longer rallies mean more expensive rallies. There's a balance to be found, isn't there?
Yes, I agree. There is a balance to be found, and Back to the Future is not necessarily the right way. But in every negotiation, every walk of life, there's a compromise to be sought. And really, we need to look as a group of stakeholders, manufacturers, TV companies, promoters, the FIA, organisers, to find a way to make the sport affordable, and not just to make it affordable, but to make it less exclusive, that it's not just manufacturers. We want to see privateers, private teams using our products, participating in WRC as well.
Malcolm, Jari-Matti Latvala is your undisputed number one this year. He came out of 2011 on a real high with his first win in Wales. It bodes well, doesn't it, for a championship assault this year?
Yes, very much so. I think if you look at Jari's performance, certainly in the second half of the season, it was outstanding, to the point where he achieved more fastest times than anybody else, any other driver last year, more fastest times than Sebastian Loeb. So, but not only that, we saw a big step in his maturity as well in the second half of the season. He would definitely have won more than one rally. He helped Miko, because we were really pushing for Miko to get the championship. But his performance as well on asphalt was absolutely sensational. So, we knew the speed was always there, but it seems as though now he's developed into hopefully the complete driver. And we feel that he's the man that's in the strongest position to really try and pull that title away from Sebastian Loeb. I mean, he's definitely had it far, far too long, and we need to do something about it.
It's difficult, isn't it? Everyone says, it's so boring when Loeb wins every time. But we're witnessing a really special thing. And in 10, 20, 30 years' time, we'll be saying, wasn't it exciting to be part of that when there was such an amazing talent in the championship?
Well, we regard it as it's an incredible challenge for us. It's if you think about it, we would probably have won the last 8 championships if Sebastian Loeb hadn't been there. But that's really what drives everybody in the team, to try to find a way to actually to take him off the top step of the podium. But I think, as I said, we really feel now that we've got Jari-Matti into a position where we know that he can challenge in and win rallies. Whether he can win enough next year to do it remains to be seen. But we certainly believe that of anybody that is out there at the moment, then he's the man to try and challenge him.
And in the second Fiesta RS WRC, you've got Petter Solberg, who is no stranger to rally fans and the WRC. I mean, a great coup for Ford to have Petter back. He's an enormous character, and he's very successful.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back a long way. We brought Petter into the WRC. We had him for a couple of years, and he's been back with us since Sunday. He's been at the workshop and everything. He's seen a lot of the people, and of course, a lot of the people that were at M-Sport when he was there the last time are still there. So a lot of familiar faces for him. But we're really pleased to have him back in the team. We think he can bring something. He's got all that experience. He's won a world championship. He's probably one of the most experienced drivers now in the WRC. So we're looking forward to some really good feedback from him with the experience he's got. The first 2 rallies, we've told him that we want him to run basically the spec of car that Jari Matti will do. So we want to really focus all his attention on actually driving and not worry so much about the setup. Get those 2 events under his belt, and then we'll really sit down and look at ways that we can try and really improve the team or whatever going forward. So that's certainly the plan for the first 2 rallies. I mean, we've made it very clear that Jari Matti is our number 1 driver, but it's not to say that Petter can't win a rally. If we're in a situation where he's leading and Jari's third, well, we'll be very happy that Petter wins. And I want to make it very clear that both cars will be starting with exactly the same level of specification and equipment, so there's no difference in the car setups.
We often hear, don't we, people griping at team orders and kind of artificial results, but it's a team game. I mean, you've got hundreds of people back in Cumbria who make these rally cars work every other week. It's the nature of the beast, isn't it? And Jari Matti had to pull over for Mikko so many times last year. It's just kind of part of the game, isn't it?
It is, and it's not. Let's be honest. It's not a game that I certainly enjoy. In one sense, it's great that you can be in that position, that you can you can effect team orders. But being an ex-driver myself, I know that it's a very, very difficult situation to be in. I think last year was a little bit different because Jari had so many problems earlier on in the season, and there was really no chance for him to get back into the hunt for the Drivers' Championship. So we had to make a very clear decision to put all our efforts behind Mikko. But of course, it was a new car for last season, and you're always going to have the odd technical issue and the odd mistake from the driver's side. But I think hopefully this year then we're in much better shape. And well, let's say, I hope we have to do many team orders, because if we are, then we're going to be very competitive. But at the end of the day, it's not the easiest way for me, the easiest decisions for me to handle.
Talking of team orders, Mikko's gone along to Citroën to support Sebastian Loeb. How do you think he's going to get on? Because he's been the only guy to challenge Seb on a consistent basis in the past 4 or 5 years.
Well, the great thing about Mikko is, as you've touched on it there, he's so consistent. You know, as you mentioned, last year the championship went right down to the wire. It was a couple of years before that. There was 1 point between them. And he knows how to play an incredible backup role. You know, he was very, very instrumental in our 2 manufactured titles in 2006, 2007, the way that he backed up Marcus Grönholm. And there's no question that he will do a very, very good job in backing up Sebastian Loeb. But I just hope there's the same sort of fireworks there that there was last season, because the number 2 driver.
You mean taking points off each other? And
yeah, I would hope that Mikko does something like that. Yeah.
Gerard, you've got a lot of very important commercial partners in this effort. It costs a huge amount of money to do the WRC, and one of your kind of loyal supporters is Castrol, of course. We've seen the latest livery of the Fiesta WRC. It looks fantastic, but without people like Castrol, it wouldn't happen, would it?
Yeah, we're very fortunate that we've got, over the years now, we've had a lot of very good partners, and we've enjoyed a long relationship with Castrol and Castrol Edge. And we're glad that they're with us again for the next 2 years. And something that a lot of people don't realise, but without partners such as Castrol, you cannot compete at the sport at the highest level, and that's very important.
And there's a lot of technology transfer, isn't there, between the two? You guys, it's that old win on Sunday, sell on Monday thing that's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's as I say, you know, people refer to it as sponsorship, but in actual fact, it is a partnership, and we do have this technology transfer, both with our competition vehicles and our road cars as well, and that's very important because at the end of the day, the consumer is the person who wins.
I've got to ask you a couple of things about Formula Ford, of course, going through a big change in 2012. It's a bastion of the old junior single-seater series. Big change this year. Tell us a little bit about what's happening.
Yeah, I guess with all that's been going on in WRC, Formula Ford was a welcome break for me to get involved in the development of the car. And a great team of guys down at Dunton, and also working with the manufacturer, the chassis manufacturers and the various teams. We've developed a car that's really exciting now for 2012. And that car has got the 1.6 litre turbocharged engine. It's the EcoBoost engine from the same family of engine as the World Rally car, using the same technology. We've got a sequential transmission, but I guess the real important thing is that the safety of the car has improved tremendously with the FIA-approved space frame chassis, which allows us to take that car racing in a lot more territories around the world than we had done previously.
Does having this car restrict the sort of freedom of chassis design that has always been the mainstay of Formula Ford?
I think it's probably the opposite. The fact that it allows you to go into more areas now. I mean, we had difficulties, for example, in racing the Formula Ford car in Germany, and I would hope now with the new car that we can get into that market. I mean, Formula Ford is a very exciting championship and has been around now for over 40 years. It's grassroots motor racing at its best, if you like, and we're very proud of it. And we want to expand that and bring that enjoyment and passion to people in more markets.
Why do the Formula Ford cars not have any wings?
Because some of us fight hard not to have them on there. But no, I think the real ethos of Formula Ford is, you know, you got young kids coming out of karting, and it's great to get them into their first taste of a real single-seat race car with mechanical grip without any sort of aerodynamic aids. And maybe more of the traditionalists like myself believe that they shouldn't be on there. But you know, if somebody wants to progress in their racing career and develop their racecraft, I think there's nowhere better to do it than in Formula Ford. And you see people like Jenson Button and Formula Ford stars that have been in the grid last year. You know, almost 25% of those came through Formula Ford.
The car is here, isn't it? Where can people see it?
The car is at the BRS CC stand. I'd encourage people to go along and have a look at it. And more than that, encourage them to buy one as well. That's
in Hall 7, I think, isn't it, BRSCC stand?
Correct. It's down to my right or your left.
Okay, guys. Great to see you. We wish you all the best for 2012 and hope you can lift another world title or two.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gerard Quinn and Malcom Wilson.